disguising. She's a little handful of trouble, a bundle of fun. Glad you could make it, so glad you could come. Little Miss, we're waiting for you. Ready, steady, how do you do?
One Friday evening, the telephone rang in Early Bird Cottage. Little Miss Late picked it right up.
Hi, Miss Late speaking.
Hello, Mr. Silly here. I've been given some tickets for what do you call it? A disco tomorrow night. Would you like to come?
Oh, yes, right. What a wonderful idea.
Right. I'll meet you at 7 o'clock outside the disco.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
And she put the phone down. Now, Saturday arrived and Mr. Silly waited outside the disco. He waited and waited and waited some more. Poor Mr. Silly went home. The next day, Mr. Silly went to see Miss Late. After a long while, she opened the door.
Hi, Mr. Silly. I thought we were going to meet outside the disco.
Oh.
Late for this, late for that. Miss Late was late for everything. For instance, last year, do you know when she celebrated Christmas Day? January the 25th, exactly 1 month late.
Hi. Merry Christmas. Uh-oh. Sorry.
For example, do you know when she did her spring cleaning at Early Bird Cottage? In the summer, 3 months late.
Hi. Happy Easter. Uh-oh. Sorry.
And for instance, do you have any idea when she went on her summer vacation last year? In the winter, in December, in the snow. This time, 6 months late.
Hi. Wish you were here. Ooh. Uh-oh. Sorry.
Now, just along the road, almost next door, was Tidy Cottage, where a friend of hers lived, Little Miss Neat. Little Miss Neat had decided that afternoon to go for a walk. As she came to Early Bird Cottage, she noticed Miss Late in the garden, up to her ears in uncut grass. She called over the fence to her.
Hello? What are you doing?
I thought I'd cut the grass.
But Miss Neat had a better idea.
I think that you should have thought about that months ago. I tell you what, let's go shopping together,
Oh, great idea.
I'll meet you in town on the corner of Main Street tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock.
All right. I'll be there.
The following afternoon, Little Miss Neat stood on the corner of Main Street. It was 2 o'clock, and she was waiting for Miss Late. And she waited, and waited, and waited some more. Mr. Topsy-Turvy walked past, backwards, of course.
Afternoon, good.
Finally, Miss Late arrived.
Hi. I'm a little bit late, I'm afraid.
A bit late. It's 5 o'clock already, and all the stores have closed.
Sorry.
And that's what happened all the time. It happened when Miss Late decided to get a job. Her first job was in a bank. But the trouble was, by the time she arrived for work, the bank had closed.
Sorry.
And that was the end of her first job. Now, her second job was as a waitress in a restaurant. Mr. Greedy was in for lunch, and he glanced at the menu.
Yes, I'll have everything twice with cookies.
He was still waiting to be served at 7 o'clock that evening, so he went home.
Sorry.
And that was the end of her second job. Now, her third job was working as a secretary for Mr. Uppity.
Yes?
Miss Late, I'd like these letters typed before you go home tonight.
It was 4 o'clock in the morning when Miss Late finally said,
Finished.
You certainly are.
Sorry.
and that was the end of her third job. But now at last, Miss Late has managed to find herself the perfect job. She now works for Mr. Lazy, cleaning his house and cooking his meals. And little Miss Late, being little Miss Late, is always late for work. So she doesn't arrive for work in the morning. She arrives as Mr. Lazy gets up.
Oh, Miss Late. Oh, good afternoon.
Hi!
And Mr. Lazy, being Mr. Lazy, doesn't have breakfast in the morning like you or I do. He has breakfast in the evening.
Right.
And so, you see, it all works out very well. In fact, perfectly. Because Miss Late thinks this is perfectly normal.
Mr. Lazy!